All right, so let's go around and introduce ourselves. I am Jason Salazar, the filmer of the very first Eddie Tingley and one of the creators, and I'm joined by...
I am Andy Garcia. I play Eddie Tingley. I'm also a co-creator of this wonderful series.
And
I'm kidding. I'm not Andy Garcia. That's me, Jeff Paulson.
It is Jeff Paulson. Andy was not available tonight.
No.
And we have...
I'm Devan Walker. I'm one of the co-creators, and I am the very first bad guy known as Semore. But he has a very short life.
Yes, Semore Punjab. So, and we are watching the Furthest Adventures of Eddie Tingley. Started in the summer of 1994 after we graduated high school. We decided this summer, let's make a movie.
So I have to tell you that this episode, watching it now, it's not very. I hope I'm not offending anyone by saying I don't think it's very good. But at the time, we thought it was just the greatest thing we'd ever done, and that's what spawned the series, was how amazing we thought this detective story. Because apparently, I don't know what we had filmed before this. We filmed a couple things that were just awful, and then and we filmed this.
Right.
And in comparison, this was just the most amazing thing we had ever done in our lives. And
I think too, it was like after we finished this and we showed it to all of our friends, for some reason it really resonated with everybody. Like they're like, oh, I want to be in an Eddie Tingley, I want to be a bad guy, and that juiced us up to make, oh, let's make more. And we never had a character that people actually wanted to be a part of. So there was that.
Yeah, it created a buzz factor with everyone in our group, and
Right.
the hat, the jacket, and the '78 Cadillac, it's all part of the Walker family.
Right. Devan brought the hat and the coat because I remember I went over to Jeff's house. I kind of remember it somewhat vividly. I went to your house and I'm like, let's make a movie. And I think you had said, let's make a detective movie. And I'm like, oh, like a Dick Tracy thing. And he's like, yeah, that'd be great. And I'm like, oh, too bad we don't have like a Dick Tracy hat. And then you said you had one, so you brought it over and you had the coat, and we're like, that's perfect. I mean, like, it is a Dick Tracy hat, but we'll make it our own.
Yeah.
And so Jeff got in there, and then we're just like, well, what's he gonna do? What's his case he's gonna solve? And we're like, I don't know, let's just have him dance first. And so we did that, and he danced around, and then here we introduced Semore Punjab.
Nice edit, Jason.
Yeah, in his...
Wow.
In his, I think it was a Chevy's.
It's a Chevy's hat when you get it for your birthday.
Right. So
Don't ask me why I was wearing that, though. I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. This is my first time being in front of a camera acting, so I had no idea what to do, what to say.
Yeah, me and Jeff
I make funny noises. I don't really ever talk like, yeah.
Me and Jeff were kind of old hat at this point, because I think, up until that point, me and Jeff were kind of the ones making more of the movies up until that point, just from school alone and for classes. So, and then I guess we should talk a little bit about Eddie Tingley. Where did the name come from? Well, we were sitting in Jeff's room, and up on Jeff's wall, he had a bunch of posters. One of them...
A bunch of autograph pictures of different sports players.
Right, and well, of course, now Eddie came from one of your sports posters, which was...
Eddie, it was a combination of Eddie Murray and Ron Tingley were the two. And I'll never forget, we were debating between Eddie Tingley and Orlando Fernandez was the other name we were thinking of going with.
I believe we steered away from Orlando Fernandez because we just felt Jeff didn't look ethnic enough.
No, it wouldn't have worked. It would have felt like this.
But Devan looked ethnic enough to pull off Semore Punjab.
Yeah, I'm not even Mexican, so...
Well, Punjabs aren't Mexican
Well,
either.
you know what I'm saying, but whatever. Well, Punjab, the last name, I think we got it. I think we got that. I think from Annie. I think
you got it from Annie. Yeah,
Annie,
Punjab. And then of course here's my first appearance as Harrison.
Yes.
My name Harrison was taken from up on the wall behind that Han Solo thing there that you just saw was an Empire Strikes Back poster, and I'm like, well, I'm just gonna take me after Harrison Ford. Especially since I figured my character, it wasn't going to go anywhere, because I hated being on camera at that point. I just liked filming. So Harrison came from that, and then my last name Maxwell came later, which we just got off of a can of Maxwell House coffee. So that's the genesis of all of our names. And here we are at Valco Fashion Park.
Yes.
Mainly because this is a mall that at the time, nobody cared if you filmed in it.
And I don't know why I switched my hats either. I switched from...
Because you're a master of disguises.
No, you switched you switched your hat because you said, I am not going into that mall wearing a sombrero.
Okay.
Part of the character was he was a master of disguise at Semore Punjab.
But since Semore died before his time, we never really fully explored that.
Thanks for the... explanation. I totally forgot about it.
We liked the hat. I mean, the car too, because it actually kind of matched the hat.
Yeah.
If you see here, like the colors are very similar. Oh, and you made that. That was a magical take. You just didn't even look. This is back when Jeff thought Eddie would be certainly cooler. Because you can see he
Character did not turn out very cool.
No, Eddie turned out to be a total, kind of idiot, as it were, as he went along. Comic relief.
Yeah.
Here we are at, I believe this arcade was Tilt, which is no longer there.
Which is the bowling alley now.
It is yes, it's a bowling alley at Valco now.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had a merry-go-round and bumper cars in here, and we're like, oh, let's go to Tilt. That'll be a fun place for him to try to find Semore and walk around.
Yeah, walk around. Boy, looks skinny. We all ran high school tracks, and we looked very skinny back then.
You all look very young.
Oh my
Jeff
God,
looks
I'm like
excessively young.
I'm like real thin. But back then we were filming in like Valco a bunch of times, and we had no issues with mall cops. But I think eventually they kicked us out of them.
Yeah, I think when we started
episodes.
getting into the Christmas specials, when we were there for longer periods of time or at night, they're like, hey, what are you doing? Who's that jackass in the hat? But yeah, I mean, it's fun to look back on these too, because just the locations where we were at, they don't even exist anymore.
No.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, it was a big deal too, just filming in a mall, because we thought that in itself made a good movie.
Yeah.
Like we're filming and
Location, yes.
we're not in our house, we're not in our front yard. Look, we're at the mall. This is amazing. People are gonna eat this shit up, and
Which they did.
they did, and I got distracted by those girls for half a second there, as you saw. I was like, hey, honey. I was single and alone back then, but yeah, this is funny. I mean, we had this weird like showdown between the two of you. Like it was a continuous motif that you guys were always just almost out of each other's reach and always staring each other down. And
Oh yeah, this is the famous scene where we're eating food at the same table after Jeff does this.
Right.
We're eating at the same table, looking at each other.
and
I'm
Semore,
stupid.
of course.
I walk right by, it's like, oh, he's not there. Oh.
How funny! You were the only one who wasn't completely black. But no, I mean, yeah, this again was back when Valco had a food court. They have a food court now,
probably,
but
yes.
not like this.
Here we go.
And,
Here's a good face off.
I'm still sporting that massive pimple on my nose.
Yeah,
that
that's right.
It was an episode. What was the time frame between episode 1 and 3? Because it was a couple years.
No, actually, the first 4 episodes I think were all done within a week or two of each other, because we were
That thing
continuously
is huge.
we were so
It's
excited.
a large zit.
Fortunately, my camera.
I wonder why. Here I am eating greasy food. I wonder how I ended up with such a large zit.
Well, I think it's from a scene that I actually ended up cutting out, where you actually took the pizza and rubbed it on your face. So no,
That was not the smartest move of
but,
my career.
Oh, you got
This
worked.
first episode really has no plot at all, other than scenery shots.
Yeah,
There's really no purpose.
the genesis of Eddie Tingley was that he was supposed to be a private detective, but honestly, I don't think he started attempting to solve cases till a good year, 2 or 3 years after the fact.
Well, this is what's confusing to me is how did we end up thinking this was such great stuff? Like I don't like it. Like I said, here we are, we're walking around a mall.
Well, we were young, and we thought single. We didn't have a lot of things to fill our day. And again, looking at this, yeah, it's old. It's kind of bad, but
Kind of.
but
15 years ago.
But it's also it's this representation of like our time together as friends from like '94 on. It's like the ultimate home movie.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
That's true.
With a little tiny bit of a plot and production.
There's Ron Tingley, right? He's just a face. That
Oh,
guy
the
with
black and white photo
yes.
there.
But
That's Ron
I
Tingley.
feel this kept our core group of friends together every single summer until, like 98, 99. We always kept together.
And it still
Had a
kind
reason
of
to be
does,
together.
because here we are, it's 2009. This is over a decade after we started these, like 14, 15 years
Yeah,
later.
yeah.
And now here we are talking about them. So, I mean, in essence, it's still holding us together. I mean, it's not the only reason we're friends, because we created this private detective
Kind
series.
of the only reason.
Yeah, I mean, like, I can't speak for everyone, but I mean, like, yeah.
Pretty much the only reason I talk to you.
Jeff smells. So, we're in a very hot recording studio.
I'm gassy, sorry. Just kidding.
And Devan ate too much fruit. So, but I mean, again, like I said, it's the ultimate home movie with a little music behind it, and a little bit of a story, and it's just great to see just also how far they've come. If you're a fan of the series and follow it to its end, I mean, there is no comparison. It's like light and dark. I mean, we got so much better at it, and it's funny to think that it all started here with Jeff just basically chasing a car
around a parking lot.
Do I end up on top of the car?
You
Is
do.
this our first stunt here?
Yes, this was also a big deal, was that you actually were on top of this car, and Devan was driving fairly
First stunt.
fast.
Yeah, fairly fast.
Yeah.
But back then, we're the early stunts. I mean, we did so much stunts
Yeah.
and like car chases. We don't do much of that much anymore.
No, because
Well, we should.
we're old and things hurt more.
Yeah, and more liability these days.
I'd still get on top of a car if needed.
Yeah.
Those are fun. I actually liked riding on top of the car.
It's just funny to just look at this now and like how daring we thought we were.
Yeah.
I mean, but again, we were young and we thought we could do. This was painful here. That's
gotta hurt.
Nothing really, obviously nothing connected, but boy, that still resonates really well. It looks like Tingley got it in the balls. So, but yeah, here comes. You were going pretty fast.
Yeah, I was.
I
Probably
mean,
going 20, 25.
Not
30.
in this shot here, but when you come around the corner, like you were hauling balls pretty good.
Yeah.
And
I think the fastest we ever got was Matt. I think Matt drove, and we actually got to like 50 miles an hour.
Right, you were like latched onto the top of his car, holding on for dear life, and you see it because like your face was like, so.
But in future episodes, I think we do a stunt like this one by my parents' house in Los Altos on a street. This is like this is like on a road off
with
the main
people
track,
driving behind
with people
us.
driving by. And
This little.
That was daring.
that was daring.
Sliding while moving.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we were fortunate that this street that Jeff used to live on, nobody drove down. Nobody cared. So
This is actually a real stunt here. I'm diving out of the way of the car.
Right.
It's actually pretty.
It was pretty good for its day.
Yeah.
I mean, Devan got pretty close.
Yeah.
I mean, Devan had no line of sight, so he's like, well, you better just move because I'm going to drive.
Yeah.
So, but again, as we come to learn that every Eddie Tingley, after a somewhat exhilarating action sequence, we end up on Jeff's front lawn.
Here's Devan changing
my hat again.
Changing the hat.
Disguise.
Don't ask me what that is.
You're
but
happy. You thought you killed Tingley, so you're wearing a party hat.
Okay.
Very excited. And
I look
here
like a
comes.
dork, dude. I look like an idiot. I don't know.
I love Devan right here. The whole Punjab, no!
Punjab, no!
That became a joke for some reason, just saying Punjab and no really quickly. We ended up putting that in other movies, but. And I must also apologize. Yes, I pretty much filmed the majority of all of these movies from the get-go, and obviously, 94, it was before the advent of digital video and the advent of what we like to call steady shot. So, yes, everything is very shaky and blurry and kind of hard to watch, especially if you suffer from motion sickness. So,
Or you watch Born Ultimatum.
yeah, I'd like to
Shaky
think.
camera.
Thank you. I like to think of myself being ahead of my time. This Eddie
Yes,
Tingley
you were.
was born.
Yeah.
I believe that Mr. Greengrass stole this from me, and he can rot in hell. So I love that shot of you looking all scary. So, God, look how nice the hat and coat were.
I know.
Fresh off the shelf. Oh, the little karate
Oh
bit.
God.
This is just embarrassing to watch. Some of this stuff.
I think I got the Dick Tracy hat for a high school dance, and I never wore it, and that's where it
You
came
got
from.
it for a high school
I
dance?
think I got it for a high school dance, like a dress-up dance.
The Tingley hat?
Yeah, the Tingley hat. Yeah.
You were gonna wear that to a high school
Yes,
dance.
I think it's for. I think my mom and I went to a store and we found
Hey
it.
everyone, I'm here to dance. There better not be any shenanigans going on.
Not Dick Tracy. Let me stress to Dick.
Oh my God. I mean, but when we finish this, like, Semore supposedly dead here.
Yeah.
We never intended to continue past this point.
No.
We filmed this, we thought it was great for the day, and we were done. We're like, Eddie Tingley is no more. And as I said, we showed it to friends, and for some reason, it really hit them, and we continued. So, but as we see here, Semore is not dead yet. This is, though, what caused Semore's death, and why it's called the basketball that started it all,
Throws it at my head.
right? And
Dies.
and
Cracks
Semore,
his neck.
yeah, apparently that ball was made of lead and snapped his neck. So,
Good aim.
thus began the beginning
Thus began
the beginning of
Dead.
Eddie Tingley, Private Dick.
Seymour is dead.
And here was our still action shots. Oh no, I almost got hit by that car. And oh no,
no.
that hat's going to eat me. What's going on
that's
there?
scary.
Yeah, scary there. And
Whoa.
Is that how you spell Semore?
I thought it was S-E-Y.
Wow.
Apparently, it kind of comes and goes with what it's. I mean, it could be either way.
Apparently, I need to go back to school. And that's before I was Harrison Maxwell. I was just Harrison.
Those are my headphones.
If You Really Loved Me. Wasn't that a detective novel? That's why you were reading it?
I was not reading that, that's for sure.
But that was Eddie Tingley episode 1, and as I stated, that went on for another 12, 13 years. So we apologize.